Hello and welcome to another video review. This is Magicka for PC. This is an unusual action-adventure game developed by Arrowhead Game Studios and published by Paradox Interactive. And it's unusual in the fact that it's really a satire. I mean, they make that painfully obvious with their marketing and with just the game's subject matter, the way everything's presented in game. It's not meant to really be taken seriously. And I think a lot of people seem to be trying to do that, and you're really not supposed to. I mean, that kind of ruins the fun. But it has a unique visual style. It's kind of cartoony, but it is 3D graphics. It's isometric. And here's the weird thing about the graphics. The minimum system requirements are ridiculously high. What you see is the game on max detail. And I actually have frame rate drops that are extremely considerable and very noticeable. And this game really doesn't seem to have very intensive graphics. It doesn't seem to have a lot of really high-intensity physics or intense shaders or any of that. Instead, it's just kind of a standard indie game graphics. And to have such high system requirements and have so many performance problems as a result of them, it's kind of bothersome, really. I kind of feel like that's a bad thing on it. But within those graphics, they put in a lot of detail. It's very bright, very colorful, and that's very appreciated in this day and age, where everything seems to be brown and gray, and it all has to be just dark and grim. This one's really bright, really colorful, really silly. Animations are really nice and fluid, which kind of surprised me. I thought it was going to be kind of clunky, but it really wasn't. Animations are really nice and fluid. There's little visual touches here and there. Like, if you wander into some water, or you accidentally douse yourself in water while you're casting a spell or something like that, you actually do get soaking wet, and you see like water dripping off of you as you trudge around and all that. And it's nice little touches like that that really help bring this up visually, despite not having the best graphics around. It's just they put a lot of detail into it, a lot of effort into the little things that really help it bring it up. And likewise, the sound design and especially the voice acting really fits in with the silly, cartoony art style, in that it's kind of ridiculous. I mean, while the sound effects are nice and beefy, they all sound really nice. All the spells sound very powerful and just awesome. The voice acting, it's supposed to be like a gibberish, only in Swedish. And you'll get little words here and there that are in English, some that are in Swedish. It's all over the place, and it's just silly. I mean, they're just sitting there saying things in ridiculous accents, and you can't really take them seriously. So that's pretty amusing at times. I mean, it does wear kind of thin pretty quickly, but it's silly, and it kind of adds to that. The music is this kind of, I guess it's fairy tale. It's kind of reminds me of Majesty 2's music, to be honest with you. It's kind of fantasy music and it's fairy tale music, but at the same time, it could fit in, I mean, your standard kind of fantasy movie. But it does have that fairy tale tinge to it that really helps you get into the whole cartoony aspect of it. So overall, presentation is good, but the performance problems really do need sorting out. Now, the story is that you're a wizard who is sent to defeat this evil sorcerer and his minions who are trying to basically take over the world with the power of magic. This evil sorcerer was banned from the Order of Wizards, and you basically start out with that. And it's not the storyline that draws you in, though, because the story is very generic. Yes, it's based in Norse mythology somewhat. It's very loosely based. You'll see a lot of things that are named after things from Norse mythology, but what will draw you in is that this game is so ridiculously silly. They do not take themselves seriously whatsoever. They just went in and said, okay, let's just goof off and make something that's just ridiculous. And that's exactly what they've done here. They have so many pop culture references, and just so much random goofiness within the game that you're probably never going to stop, at least chuckling. Some of them will make you just downright start laughing, but you'll be pretty much chuckling the entire game, whether it's because you're blasting things with spells or because just something in the game has caught your eye and it's made you laugh. They have tons of pop culture references, stuff like they'll reference Legend of Zelda, 300, all sorts of different movies, including the Harry Potter series. That's books, but anyway, Lord of the Rings, and stuff like Star Trek and Star Wars, Monty Python, all sorts of different things. And then they go even further than that, and they take a lot of liberties with the whole mythology thing and the fantasy setting. For instance, you'll get at one point you can get an M60 light machine gun that replaces whatever weapon you have. You get access to 2 different weapons, and it'll replace whatever weapon you have. It's a freaking M60 machine gun, and they say that it's too complex to be in a fantasy setting, but they somehow made it out of a paperclip and a shotgun. And so it's like, what is this? I don't even... But then you run around just blasting stuff with it, and it's like, oh yeah, I'm Rambo. I'm Rambo Mage. But, what's really steals the show, though, is the spellcasting itself. Now, this ties in with the controls. I have to admit the controls are pretty difficult to get used to, and they're pretty off-putting at first. I mean, when I first started this game, and I was trying to get used to the controls, I didn't like it at first, because the controls were just really awkward. But then I got used to it. I'm like, okay, these are actually pretty intuitive. Movement is done with the left mouse button. If you hold shift and click the left mouse button, then you use whatever your weapon is, whether it be a sword or a gun or whatever it is. If you use the right mouse button, you can hold it down to charge up a spell, or you can launch that just spells immediately by just hitting it. And if you hit the middle mouse button, I think it can be rebound, but if you hit the middle mouse button, then it casts whatever your elements are on yourself. And if you hold shift and hit the right mouse button, then it will do like a wave attack around you. And you have access to 8 elements, and it's stuff like fire and water, cold and lightning, and they also give you arcane and shielding and life and such like that. Each spell element has an opposite, so if you try to use them in conjunction, then they will cancel each other out. You can use up to 5 elements at any given time, and 2 of these are actually combinations. If you combine cold and water, then you get ice, and if you combine water and fire, you get steam, and those, when you combine them, they take up 1 slot. But you do get access to certain spells within the game that you get via spell books, and some of them are pretty useful. Like, you can get haste pretty early on. You also get a spell named Crash to Desktop. I've never used it, but I can't imagine it could be any good. But the weird thing about the spell system is that the spell elements are bound to QWER and ASDF, and the movement's done with the mouse. So that takes a lot of getting used to. But once you get used to it, you can just have fun combining all these different elements into different things. Like, one of my favorites is to combine arcane, lightning, and fire together to have this fire infused, lightning infused beam of awesomeness and just blast things with it. And a lot of the times I'll get overkill with that, and what that means is when you hit them with a certain spell, they will actually explode into giblets, which surprised the hell out of me considering this game is teen rated. I thought it would have been M rated because of that, but it's not. I guess they figured it was just silly enough and that you're not, well, you can kill the people, but I guess they figured it's just supposed to be silly and not taken seriously, so therefore the giblets are just there. I don't know. I think you might be able to turn them off, but I don't know. And you have multiple modes available to you. You have challenge modes, which, I mean, that's pretty self-explanatory. They also have a battle mode where you and other players can just kind of square off and just duel with magic and such. they have the adventure mode, which can be played solo or with other players. And this is consisting of 13 levels. This is your story mode, basically. And it's pretty linear. You progress from place to place. It does have Steam achievements, so if you want to go and be an achievement whore, then you can definitely do that. It does support it. And there's a lot to find here. It's a really surprisingly large game within these 13 levels. The levels themselves really aren't that long. I mean, this game can be completed in maybe 6 hours, maybe 7 if you're really trying to look for everything. I mean, if you go back and do achievements, then you'll definitely get more than that. But there's actually an achievement in this game for completing the campaign in under 4 hours. So, I mean, it's a pretty short campaign. But for what you pay for this game, which is $10 US, that's actually a pretty good deal, considering you also get the multiplayer, the co-op, the challenges modes, and there's tons of DLC for it already, including the Vietnam expansion, which when I get that, I will also do a video on that. But there's just a lot of content within this $10 package, and I was really pleasantly surprised by it. It is a blast to play. Once you get past the performance problems, I don't know why it has performance problems, but it does. Once you get past those and the controls, this is a real gem. I was very pleasantly surprised by it. This is the kind of stuff that I really look for in the indie market. The stuff that just kind of comes out of nowhere and is a blast to play. So overall, I do highly recommend Magicka, especially if you've been looking for a good co-op game, because it is really fun co-op, despite being able to blast each other into pieces. And that's part of the fun, by the way. But if you're looking for something that's really silly, really a great parody, then look no further than Magicka, because it's great. I highly recommend it. Give it a 4 out of 5, and thanks for watching.